Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estella.
And welcome to
Cafecito.
And Crime. Everyone. I hope everyone is doing wonderful. How are you doing today, sister?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Today was eventful. It was an eventful day of Pokemon catching. And it was thunderstorm. Dude, in the morning, it was so crazy. Like, it was black outside. It was crazy. And I was like, okay, ahorita se va a ir el internet because, you know, I work from home. So I'm like telling them, hey, I'm letting you know. I'm letting you know that we might lose power or that my internet might go down or whatever.
It was that bad outside.
It was that bad. And so then I'm waiting for it y nada. It never left.
You're like, oh, I was hoping deep down.
No, pero es que sí quería que se fuera, pero a little bit no, because they'll want me to go into the office.
Yeah, as bad as it was outside.
Right? Pero I was just kind of like, no, I'd
rather be work from home.
Yeah, I'll just wait. And so I was just like, no, everything was fine. And then we went out to lunch. We had a lunch for our manager. So that was fun. And then after that, I came home and I went back to work. It was like, it was funny because the manager, when we were walking in, she was all like, can we just not go back to work?
And well, you're the manager, so can you make that happen?
But no, we did go back to work. And I met my coworker that lives in Midland. I don't know if anybody listens in Midland, but shout out to Midland. Mm-hmm. And she was telling me that, dude, she's so tall. It was the best thing ever.
And you're tall, so yes. How tall was she?
She was taller than me. And
how much taller than you?
She's probably maybe 6 inches, maybe a little bit less.
So where do you think she's 6 feet?
Yeah, she's probably 6 feet. She was probably like my husband's height, probably. Because, mm-hmm. I mean, when we were next to each other, we took a picture and I wasn't the tallest one in the picture. It was the best thing ever. And then the other girl was like, well, I'm 5'5". And then it was funny because so me and my tall coworker was like, well, how about you're short and we're the normal ones? And we're like, yeah, dude, you're like a little person. And so it was funny, but we really had a good time. When you literally I talked to her every single day. Mm-hmm. And just the fact that I was able to she was like, oh my God, you're so much taller than I thought. She thought I was tall. And then I thought she was tall.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. And then we went to, I had been to Hibachi a long time ago. The Benihanas or whatever. Not sponsored if they want to. No te creas. Pero, I had went y no me había gustado. So we never went back. Pero ahora que fui, it was really good.
You didn't
I enjoyed
it.
Time? No, I remember que fuimos tú y mi otro brother-in-law y I don't remember. I think it was for my husband's birthday.
Yeah.
And
it was a long time
ago. I think he had turned 25 or something. And then
way before the pandemic too.
Oh yeah. I think Emma was a baby. My daughter was little. So
no tampoco.
Yeah, she was.
Because I remember
I remember where I wore that day.
I remember the issue that I had with my contacts that day, and I was wearing glasses, and so it wasn't that long ago.
Well, anyway, but it was long ago.
Yes.
Y entonces, and I had not been back since because I don't know why. I don't know. I guess we just never went back, right? And then we don't have that many hibachi Benihanas here. There's only 3. There's one in Sugarland, and then there's one downtown, and then there's one in the Galleria area. Mm-hmm. So, that's not something that we're all like, oh, let's go to Benihanas, you know? So today it was really good. And then they take a picture of the birthday person and they print it for you and they give it to you.
Gratis,
güey.
Oh, cool. I
was like, oh my God, I love gratis shit. So yeah, we had a really good time. We got the manager got a purse. Oh. Yeah, because she has the most craziest looking purse, but yeah, I don't know.
It's her.
Yeah, and then after that, so I was telling Estella, story of my life. I always have a story. That my son, I don't know if anybody else has 10-year-olds out there. Hopefully you do or you don't. But they like to drag their feet on the floor. Literally, I feel like my son anda como agatas, like on 4 feet.
Like he doesn't want to walk, but he's being forced to a huevos.
So he's dragging his fucking shoes. So we just bought him shoes before we went to Disney, and they were not cheap. And I bought him 2 pairs that time.
Y'all went in March, no? Yeah.
We just went. y los trae como sus pinches nalgas de nasty. So we were going to go to my, this past week was my nephew's graduation, and I was in Dallas. So then, girl, cuando le digo, we were leaving, and I'm like, okay, so what shoes are you taking? Girl, I grab them. Parecían que estaban
through war and shit.
No, like they were like in a fucking like atomic bomb. Like they were horrible. I'm like, ¿cómo chingado le voy a poner? Like,
¿Y
how?
se los llevaba a la escuela?
Pues sí, así se los llevaba a la escuela.
That's how he got them.
That's how he got them. Like, he has one pair of shoes, and I don't buy him cheap shoes. You know, I try, you know, we are sneakerheads. We are sneakerheads. We love sneakers. My husband and both my husband and I. And, pero I'm like, dude, like, ¿por qué? Like, I don't know. You tell us if you guys as kids también tratan los zapatos como sus culo. Like, I mean,
they're kids. They don't give a shit about shoes.
Which is fine, pero I don't remember us fucking up our shoes. Like, do you remember fucking up your shoes like that?
Pero pues acá nosotros nos podían comprar más que uno, and that's what we had for the whole year. So
you had your little baby fats?
I did have baby fats.
That is so cool, dude.
I had baby fats. Had K-Swiss.
You still have K-Swiss. Oh, no, you don't. You have Keds.
I have Keds. I love Keds.
Yeah.
Nikes. Yeah. Air Force Ones.
Yeah. My husband said that he had some filas, and he had some that my father-in-law bought him some zapatos que they were like the Carmelo.
¿Te acuerdas los Perieles?
Los Perieles.
I didn't have them. My sister had some, pero yo me los ponía.
Sí.
Sí.
And they're white.
Oh, remember these shoes? Was it the polos? No, it was a polo.
Well, I mean, besides the whatchamacallit,
they were
polo
polos.
Boots.
Was it the polo boots that everybody had?
Yeah, the polo boots. Yeah, everybody had them. I know Alex, my husband, had them.
I think so, because I think my sister had some too. And those were like the rage, right? Los comprabas en Foley's before Macy's was before Foley's was Macy's, or Macy's was Foley's.
I don't know which one, but they were like expensive.
They were pricey.
They were like up there for a pair of shoes, you know?
Oh, a veces when we were younger nos llevaban a Payless, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Payless was the shit.
What are we talking about?
Shoes.
Yeah, but how?
Because my son fucked up his shoes, and then I had to go and pick them up at the mall.
Okay, yeah.
And that's how I ended up right now. I had to like buy him, because we're going to another graduation. Congratulations to my other niece that she's going to graduate. We're really proud of her. We love her to death. She's so awesome. But anyway, my point of my story is we're going to another graduation.
Y no tiene zapatos.
Y no tiene putos zapatos. Y ahí voy. I had to order them online. Tuve que ir por ellos because the shipping was going to take forever. Y luego los miró, and he was like, oh, these are the ones I wanted.
Ay, sí.
¿Cuánto le van a durar los pinches zapatos?
2 meses.
Ni 2 meses, vas a ver. So, but anyway, let's see. Let's go ahead and get started. Estela, where are we going today?
For today's case, we are going to Glacier National Park in Montana.
Oh, Montana. Have we been to Montana before?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think we have. But even if we have, I wouldn't remember, so it's okay.
I feel like I would have, but I don't remember. So
yeah, I think
it is what it is.
But it is what it is. So we're going to Montana. So if you'd like to come with us to Montana, go ahead and grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started. The fun, random, interesting facts are...
Oh, more than one.
More than one.
Okay.
Number 1, which is actually kind of sad.
Aww.
If you think about it. So the park is home to 26 glaciers, which is down from the 150 that were around like beginning of 1850. It is reported that the number of glaciers will continue to decline due to climate change.
Oh, man. That sucks. That is sad.
I know, that is sad. Number 2, Glacier National Park covers over 1 million acres.
What the fuck?
Making it as large or larger than the state of Rhode Island.
Stop. Yeah. That's crazy. 1 million acres? Like with an M,
Over a million.
Over. Should we go? I kind of want to go.
Like it's like I added it to my list, like Glacier National Park. It's beautiful.
I need to.
I'm sure you have heard about it, but
no, I don't remember. Like I know them on
the national parks or whatever.
I know that they're beautiful and stuff, but I've never like heard of this one. That's awesome. I can't wait to look it up because I'm gonna go.
No, look it up. It's beautiful.
Next girls trip. Oh, I forgot to send you something outside of this.
Okay. Send it to me. Send it to me.
Okay.
And number 3, the park attracts more than 3.
The fuck was that? Sáquelo?
I don't know what that was. The park attracts about 3 million visitors a year, which is nearly triple the population of the entire state of Montana.
Damn.
Yeah.
So se pone bien lleno, so no hay que ir porque hay mucha
No,
gente.
we have to know when to go.
I'm just kidding.
The
I'm
season
just kidding.
vamos a.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So like we said, now we want to go to Glacier National Park.
I do. I want to go to Glacier National Park.
Yeah.
But I'm sad because there's a case from there, so.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm sure, this place is fucking ginormous, like,
Dude,
you never know.
Imagine, yeah, they could probably do some damage over there and nobody, it's so big.
Yeah.
So I wonder, now I'm curious about
this case,
the national park. So do they have other animals that live there too?
Oh yeah, girl, all kinds of animals and mammals. And I think they're national, not a national, but the goats that climb rocks, they're the known animal for the Glacier Park. You just see them.
Dude, I can imagine. Every time we talk about goats, me acuerdo they remember when everybody was making fun of the Taylor Swift song and they were like,
oh yeah, goat.
Dude, I don't know why. I can imagine the goat standing there ahí en el pinche, in las rocks and stuff. That sounds like
when I was in Iceland, you would see them driving by.
That is so awesome.
And you see them on the side of the
I would scream at them, be like, That would be me, but that is why I didn't go to Iceland.
Yeah. Now, we'll begin today's case with Cody Lee Johnson, who was born in San Jose, California on April 8th, 1988. His parents were divorced, so it was just him and his mom, Sherry. There were no other kids, so he and his mom...
Single child.
Sí, okay. Yeah, so it was just him, so him and his mom were really close. Mm-hmm. In 2002, when Cody was a teenager, his mom decided to move them out of California, and it is reported that it was due to some safety concerns. Mm-hmm. And so they moved to the small, quiet, and conservative town of Kalispell, Montana. And
I wonder, what was his mom's thought, Montana? Did they have family there or something?
I'm not sure. I want to say maybe yes.
Maybe, yeah. Because out of everywhere, I wouldn't think
Montana, right?
Yeah.
So Kalispell, it's literally just right outside Glacier National Park. And the town, you could just imagine, it was beautiful. If it's right outside the national park. Mm-hmm. So while it may be difficult for teenagers to adapt to a new place, after leaving friends behind in your life, Cody took it actually really well. He loved Montana. He thrived in the new environment. He was very into outdoor activities. And how can you not? Look where you're at.
Yeah. For real. I wonder what their weather is like.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure they actually have seasons, unlike here, know?
I was about to say, because...
So he, was into four-wheeling.
You could do anything out there.
Literally.
Pretty much. You could ride any bicycle, anything. That's
go
crazy.
Walking, go on hikes. I'm sure, you shoot guns y todo eso.
Mm-hmm. BB guns.
Yeah. And another thing Cody developed an interest in besides the outdoors was cars. He loved to fix up a car and race it. Así como, don't think like Fast and the Furious tampoco.
No, I was about to say, what kind of racing are we talking here?
Car racing.
Por eso, pero digo yo, you said, don't think Fast and Furious.
No, well, not así, because you're going to start becoming a superhero and shit.
I know, no. They got a little bit out of hand when they went to space, okay? So
I think
that was
even before
the number 10, the 10th one when they went into space, I was like, I stop here.
No, I stopped way before that.
Get me off here. I stopped at 3, 4.
I think the last one I saw was cuando Paul Walker, and then that was it.
Yeah.
I think that the last movie.
That was the second one, Estela.
Aquí no vamos a... He was number 7.
Oh,
6.
Okay. Oh, well.
Later at his funeral service, a friend of Cody, Lisa Bell, stated, quote, "Whenever I got into a car with Cody at the wheel, I made sure that I was right with the men upstairs before we went anywhere."
Oh, he was one of those.
So he loved it. He loved the Need for Speed.
The Need for Speed.
Yeah,
no,
Speed Racer.
No, there was some people que dice that they had lead on their foot, que les gustaba
meter la
pata,
sí.
Right? Yeah.
Cody was described as someone with a huge personality and charisma. He made a lot of friends. He was hilarious. They described him, I guess, as not the class clown. Mm-hmm. He was over the top, and he just made people laugh todo el tiempo. He was also always willing to help anybody out. No one had a bad thing to say about him, and he was just like a stand-up guy. He had lots of friends. After he graduated from high school, he got a job building custom commercial vehicles for a company called Nomad. And after a few years, Cody was in a good place financially. Now in his early 20s, he thought about the next logical step for him. He knew he wanted to get married and start a family whom he could raise in Kalispell. And he didn't want to leave Montana. Like, that's where he wanted to raise family. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Cody's dream girl, whom he could see building a life with, wasn't very far from entering his life. So Jordan Lynn Graham was born on August in 1991. I'm assuming also in Kalispell. I'm not sure exactly where, but she was definitely a Montana girl, like through and through. She grew up in the church and was raised in a strict Christian household. She was a very involved member of the Faith Baptist Church.
Okay.
She took her faith very seriously. She attended church regularly, read the Bible. She helped out with Sunday school.
Awesome.
She also helped out with the church daycare. And she was good with kids, and they liked her, and she loved taking care of them. So Jordan was described as quiet and shy, introverted. She did at times, obviously, let loose and had fun with her friends. And much like Cody, Jordan was also very active outdoors. Again, I don't know how you're out of shape living in Montana. Like,
I could be out of shape living in Montana.
I don't think you would.
I don't know. Maybe some people don't want to walk.
Or maybe some people don't like the outdoors.
Yeah, there's people that don't.
Yeah, that's true.
You've just been there all your life and you're like, I'm just here.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go outside.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I don't like mosquitoes. I don't like,
Do they have mosquitoes?
They probably do. Mosquitoes are universal.
Okay. Can we universally get rid of them?
Yeah. And they have cicadas? Probably not.
Oh, they have a lot of different types of animals.
Cicadas is a bug. I doubt that there's cicadas over there going like that.
I think so.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay, look it up. Anyways.
I think that's a South thing. Anyways,
so Jordan graduated from high school in 2009. And afterwards, she became a full-time nanny and babysitter for members of her church. Again, she was doing what she loved and was making a steady income for herself. While others had dreams of leaving Kalispell and pursuing a big career, Jordan's dream was to become a wife and mother and settle in Kalispell.
And that's awesome because there's a lot of people that they're like, no, I just want to become a mom and I want to be a housewife. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, everybody, whatever floats your boat, you know?
Exactly.
And it wouldn't be long before she met the man who could make that dream a reality. Now, I'm not really sure how Cody and Jordan met exactly, but they did on October 30th of 2011. And not long after, I think Jordan has just turned 20, and that August, Cody began to really notice her. I guess le empezó a poner atención, and she was just so beautiful to him. Like, he was crushing hard. Again, Cody being the outgoing person that he was, and not shy, began to talk to her. He grew to like her a lot, and he managed to push through her shyness and bring her out of her shell a bit, And it seemed like ella también le gustaba a él. So after a bit, he let her know how he felt towards her, and, he let her know that he was pursuing her. And Jordan, after a while, kind of gave in to his advances. But she did let him know that what she wanted in a partner was someone who was as serious about their faith just as much as she was. And now I'm not sure if Cody was a religious person before meeting Jordan, but since it was important to her, it became important to him. He became more involved with the church and got close to Christ. And eventually he gave his life, to the Lord.
Yeah.
So the two officially began dating, and things progressed well for the couple. Friends of Cody recalled him just being like so in love with her. Just like he always lit up around her. Y siempre estaba hablando de ella, and he was just always smiling. And to Cody, like, Jordan was the one, and so after a year together, he proposed to her in December of 2012.
Oh, it must have been magical.
And she said yes.
Yeah, it must have been magical.
He was, of course, over the moon and just could not wait to start his life with Jordan as his wife. So as the couple planned their nuptials, they also began to plan.
How old are they at this point?
She was 21, 22.
They were young.
And he was about 3 years older than her, 2 or 3 years older than her. He's from 88 and she's from 91, so cuatro.
Okay.
Tres.
So then,
Yeah.
Okay. They're young though.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. As I just said, as the couple planned their nuptials, they also began to plan their life after the big day. And that included figuring out where they were going to live, you know? They found a house that they decided to rent, and they were both super really excited just about everything that was to come. As I've mentioned before, Jordan was very religious and was still living at home. And to her, it was important to do things the correct way, I guess you can say, and wait until marriage to move out with her husband and have sex. So the couple got married on June 29th of 2013. Okay. And it was a beautiful day that was celebrated with friends and family. Cody was beaming, it was reported, and he was just completely in love with Jordan and could not have been happier. And Jordan too, like when you see the wedding pictures, everybody's smiling, everybody's having a good time, just smiles all around. Sadly, the newlywed bliss wouldn't last long, since just over a week later, Cody would go missing.
Missing. Okay.
So remember, they got married on June 29th.
Yes.
Okay. On July 8th.
Wow. That's like a week.
Cameron Fredrickson, who was 27, and he was actually a good friend of Cody's and his boss, walked into the Kalispell Police Department and reported him missing. Mm-hmm. According to Cameron, Cody, who was usually at work by 6 a.m, hadn't showed up to work that morning, which was, as always, unlike him. And he also hadn't been able to reach him by phone. So Cameron was so concerned that he went to go look for Cody at his house. And I guess nobody was there. So he broke in, pretty much. He was like, I'm going to get in here. And he looked around and nothing seemed out of place. Like nobody had broken in or anything of that sort. He even searched in a crawl space in the house. To make sure that, you know.
I don't know about this guy.
Yeah. And he didn't find anything.
Well, no shit. I mean, maybe he wasn't there, bro.
He made it to the garage, Cameron, and...
Pero a ver, espérame. Compa, like, he just made himself... He was just looking for...
He was looking for Cody, yeah. That's how worried he was. Because they hadn't been able to reach him.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
He made it to the garage and he learned why Cody wasn't answering his calls. Because his cell phone was in the garage.
Okay.
When Cameron saw Cody's cell phone, he says that he knew that something was wrong because Cody never went anywhere without his phone at all. So after not being able to locate Cody...
But wait. Okay, here's my deal with this. Then what is giving me, like... I'm not liking this about this story right now is the fact that, okay, you can go in, hey, están aquí, hello, and then you walk out. No, like, look in crawl spaces and shit.
Yeah, but...
That's how, like...
Worried.
I mean, either worried or close they were because...
Yeah, I mean, they were really good friends.
Okay,
some would describe him as a best friend. They see on the camera. But, again, Cody had a lot of friends, you know?
Yeah. But it was just crazy to me that he would go as far as going to the garage and shit. Because I don't know, oigan, están aquí, no hay nadie, okay. Y ya, you move on. But this fool was like, no, I'm going to find him in the crawl space.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after not being able to locate Cody at his home and finding his cell phone in the garage, Cameron began to reach out to other family and friends. And he found out that no one had seen or heard from Cody since the night before at around 8:30 p.m. after he and Jordan had attended church and a group of them went out to Dairy Queen to grab some dinner.
Pero at this point, the house that he was looking through, de que andaba en el crawl space y todo eso, was this where his marriage house with Jordan?
Yes.
But Jordan wasn't there when he went to go look for her? Okay.
Again, let's remember, Cameron is telling all this to investigators or to at the police department, right? Or to police officers. So the police sergeant, his name was Chad Zimmerman. He found it strange that right off the bat, it was Cody's friends that was reporting him missing and not his new wife.
Yeah, because... I mean, or I don't know. Maybe she didn't notice.
Now, the following day, on July 9th, Jordan met with the police regarding Cody's disappearance. She recanted the events of Sunday, July 7th, which, remember, is when people said that they saw him last.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So According to her, that day they attended church and spent some time at the lake. Outdoor shit, you live in Montana. Later, at around 5:30 p.m., they went back to church. Afterward, again, they went to Dairy Queen for some dinner.
Not the daughter.
And then they went home. So that matched up, right? So according to Jordan, after leaving Dairy Queen on the drive home, Cody received a phone call that lasted like 30 minutes.
Wow. It's a long-ass phone call.
After this phone call, he was very upset. She said that she didn't know who he was talking to. And so I believed that they made it home and Cody was just kind of like trying to cool off from this phone call that he had.
Oh, it was like he was upset.
She noticed that her phone was dying. And then she realized that she left her charger at work. So she was like, okay, I'm going to go grab my charger. I'll be back. While she was gone, Cody le habló y le dijo that he was going to go for a joyride with some friends that were from out of town.
Okay.
Washington State, because no estaba lejos, right? By this point, it's like 9:30 in la noche. And this wasn't out of the ordinary. Like, he did this often with his friends. So when she made it back home from picking up her charger, she saw a car leave from their driveway. Remember, the house where they lived. She said that she couldn't really make out what type of car it was, only that it was a dark-colored vehicle and that it maybe had Washington plates.
So she thought it made sense that it was there because he said he was going to go out with the Washington friends. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
Now, investigators' first thought was that his disappearance might have had something to do with drugs, or it was drug-related, because they do play a big part in the crime that takes place in Kalispell. And the drugs that usually are brought into town are from Washington, So that's common. So the following day, Jordan, which is the 8th, hadn't been able to get a hold of Corey, much like Cameron. Remember, it's that Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So she texted Cameron asking if Este had showed up to work. She added that, hey, yesterday, he had gone on with some friends for a joyride. Y I'm assuming that Cameron let her know that he hadn't shown up to work. So she contacted her mother-in-law, Sherry, and asking if she had heard from Cody. And también Sherry le dijo que no. Later in the day, Sherry, Jordan, her brother, a friend of hers, and a friend of Cody gathered at their house to see if they could kind of figure out where Cody had gone.
Yeah.
Jordan explained to them that he had left his phone and car keys at the house and had left with some friends the night before. And after trying to kind of come to some sort of conclusion, or try to figure out where he was, like, they just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah,
they were just like, where could he have gone? Like, they tried reaching out to other people. Again, nobody had seen him since the night before.
Pero luego también, like, he left his phone, so they could have, like, looked up to see who he was talking to, no?
Right.
But they at that point, they didn't know.
Like, maybe he had, like a code or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Were codes a thing back in 2013? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I think so. Yeah. So at the end of Jordan's interview, investigators asked her why she hadn't reported him missing.
Yeah, that's kind of odd,
Why was it other people, And she stated that she just thought that he was going to come back and that she didn't want him to be mad at her for making it a big deal since he planned on coming back home,
Mm-hmm.
So Sherry is next to speak to investigators, and she, rightfully so, was very concerned about her son's disappearance. I believe that they might have been on the same phone plan because Sherry came prepared and handed investigators phone records from Verizon.
You better work.
Which was the cell provider, right? So the records showed that a call from the Washington number.
So, si era cierto la Washington?
It came through. Like,
what?
So it drew their attention since Jordan, had mentioned that she believed that the car that he left in had Washington plates. And he had received that upsetting phone call. ¿Te acuerdas?
Sí, que había durado 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So Police Sergeant Zimmerman reached out to this number. Pues, le habló, which belonged to a man named Jose.
Just Jose. Okay, Jose.
Zimmerman asked what the conversation with Cody had been about that night of July 7th. And Jose stated that it was about a torque wrench that he had borrowed from Cody or something to do with like tools. Something like that, right? Which, okay, it didn't match the upsetting phone call that he would have.
That made no sense.
Right?
Yeah, because if he was just calling him about what he had borrowed, then...
Or found, or a tool, eso no cuadra.
Pero a lo mejor he was very passionate about his tools. You never know.
Right. Yeah. Maybe Jose was, or maybe Cody was, right?
Yeah.
After looking into his whereabouts the night of the 7th, Jose was cleared since he had a rock solid alibi. He was at the hospital with his wife, who was giving birth.
Oh, okay. Well, that Jose was good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So while investigators were working on their end to locate Cody, his friends and family were not sitting still tampoco.
No, his mom was like,
came prepared with the phone records.
I am gonna find him.
My son.
She started worrying too,
Yes, there were different search parties looking for him. Some were on foot, others in cars. People were looking in barns, open fields, everywhere.
Yeah.
Missing person flyers were being hung around town.
Especially since you mentioned that he was very friendly, outgoing.
Yes.
Then probably people were like, "Oh no, we need to help find him."
Right. Yes. So by Wednesday, July 10th, the whole community was on high alert, on the search for Cody. And it was that same day that the first clue in Cody's disappearance came in.
Yeah.
So Jordan went to the police with an email that she received about what supposedly happened to Cody. The email was from someone called Carmen Tony 607.
Okay.
And the email stated the following. Okay.
I thought you were going to say Carmen Sandiego.
Quote, "Hello, Jordan. My name is Tony. There is no bother in looking for Cody anymore. He is gone.
What?
I saw your post on Twitter and thought I would email you. What the fuck? He had come with some buddies and met up with me on Sunday night in Columbia Falls. He was saying he needed to be with buddies for a bit and take them for a joyride before they had to go. So he said bye to me and they took off in a black car for a ride. 3 of the other guys came back saying that they had gone for a ride in the woods somewhere and Cody got out of the car and went for a little hike and they are positive he fell and is dead, Jordan. I don't know who the guys were, but they took off. So call off the missing person report. Cody is for sure gone. Signed, Tony."
Bitch, please. I don't know who the fuck you are, but you need to, first of all, we know that that's going to be a negative on that one. What the hell?
So Detective Corey Clark, asked Jordan if Cody had any friends who were named Tony.
Exactly.
And she stated that she did have one who he worked part-time with. So she gave the detective his contact info and they learned that this Tony, his full name was Tony Stallcup. So Tony S, hay que decirle.
Stallcup.
Stallcup. Like a stall and a cup.
Okay.
Tony S. was called in for an interview, and he confirmed that he worked with Cody. They drove together from time to time, but that he hadn't seen him for a while. He also stated that he did not have an email with the name Carmen Tony 607. So during his interview, Tony was very cooperative. He made himself available to detectives for whatever it is that they needed. And he even allowed them access to anything that they needed on his phone and stuff like that. Yeah.
So he was cooperative. Basically.
Yes. And Tony eventually was cleared.
Okay. So it's not that Tony.
No. So who the fuck was this Tony that sent this email, right?
First of all, how did they get his wife's email?
Well, it's Twitter. Because she said, I thought that I would email you.
A personal message.
I guess she posted it on Twitter.
Okay.
And I don't know if on her, she said, hey, reach out to me if you have any information or algo, quien sabe. So that is what investigators were focusing on next, was trying to figure out where this email came from.
Yeah.
So they reached out to Google.
Because, Google probably, I was about to say, they probably could Google the...
No, they reach out to the actual company, Google.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Google, they just Googled it.
No, they needed to trace the IP address, right?
Okay,
they reached out to Google and began that process. And they also subpoenaed Jordan and Cody's cell phone records. They wanted to see where.
But I thought that they already had them from Cody's mom.
No, those were just the phone calls. Because when you're the primary account on the.
But they were they needed to see more in detail.
Yes,
yeah, okay,
correct.
Got you. Okay.
So meanwhile, those records became available. The search for Cody moved to Glacier National Park since that email stated that that Cody had fallen off a fucking cliff.
Just randomly fell.
Yeah. On July 11th, Jordan took the search party to Loop Trail. Okay, which is an area that she and Cody had spent time in. So just off this area is what they call like a retaining wall. So you could just climb over it, right? It's just to kind of keep you in line of where the trail is going. And if you climb over it, nomás puedes poner una pata and then, you know, on the other side and then you're there. And there was some steps that lets you walk down and be close to the edge of a cliff.
Okay.
So Jordan did this and made her way to close to the edge and threw a rock. And then she leaned over to see how far it went. Then she called to the group and said that she saw something. So her brother, Michael, came over and went to where she was. And then he began screaming, saying that there was a body.
What?
So
she didn't see the... Okay, wait, what? You need to rewind and explain that to me.
Now, this area donde estaba like down was very, it wasn't safe. Like it was very hazardous, and the cliff obviously went down to a canyon. So a couple of members of the search party, including Jordan, went to find park rangers, and others stayed there at the cliff.
But I think that somebody to be able to get that close to something or to know where that is, then that must have been somebody that that's something that not a lot of people know.
Right. Yes.
You know, you kind of needed to know the area, right?
I know she said that she and Cody had spent time there. Spent time there.
So that's just odd to me.
Yeah. Now, she gave her statement to the rangers, to the park rangers, and then they decided to reach out to local and federal agencies for assistance.
Yeah, because they...
I mean, it's the agencies that became involved were the FBI, the National Park Service, Kalispell Police Department, and the Flathead County Sheriff's Office.
So they call everybody.
Everybody, yeah. And I think obviously national parks have their own, like who has jurisdiction in a national park, right?
Yeah.
So
the government, I guess? That's why they call it the FBI?
I think the National Park Service is like
their own
thing. Okay. Yeah. So I'm assuming they just needed all the help they could get, you know. Now, by the time that all this was going on, it was getting dark. So the problem was now that the sun was going down, and as I just mentioned, this area was described as just very rugged, very treacherous, and no one was it wasn't safe to search in the day, and it wasn't safe to search at night. So they had to wait until the following morning. In the meanwhile, Jordan and like the people that she was with, ellos se fueron pa su casa. They went home, and there was a ranger that stayed there and tried to secure the scene as much as one could, I guess, you know, while the police gathered their resources and got ready for the next day.
At this point, did they say that there was a body down there?
Well, they couldn't search because estaba oscuro.
Okay, pero...
Right, so they had to wait till the following day. So
they couldn't say, for sure, yes, there's a body. Okay, right. Got it.
Now, on July 12th at 8 in the morning, law enforcement was at the scene trying to look down at the bottom of the canyon with binoculars. And at one point, the sun hit like a rock, and it reflected perfectly, which allowed them to see a blue sneaker.
Oh, shit.
The KPD officers at the scene confirmed that Cody had been wearing a pair of blue sneakers the day that he went missing.
Oh, my God.
So before anybody made it down into the canyon, again, you just can't be walking your ass down there, you know? There needed to be confirmation that there was a body. So an agent from the FBI, his name's Stephen Liss, he tied a rope around his body. And I don't know if they tied him to a tree or somebody was holding on to him, but he leaned over.
Hell the fuck to the now.
Over the edge and looked down. And he confirmed that at the bottom, he saw a body in a pool. Like there was this waterfall that opened up into a pool, and there was a body floating there face down. Authorities.
So at this point, we know that there's a body.
Right.
And that was wearing blue sneakers.
Right.
Okay.
Authorities had to very carefully make their way down there. And I mean carefully. They described it as, bitch, one wrong step and you could fall to your death.
To your own death. Yeah. Okay.
So once they reached the bottom of the canyon, Richard Sine, who was a coroner who was also there and climbed down with the other agents, identified the body as that of 25-year-old Cody Johnson.
Dude, so young.
So young. And they were able to identify him because he had his driver's license in the pocket of his shorts.
Okay, so he
For sure was Cody.
he was not being robbed, obviously, because he had his things in his pocket. Okay.
Yeah. So Cody's body was carefully extracted from the pool and placed in a body bag. And then a helicopter had to drop a 200-foot line and helped, remove the body from the canyon. Now that sadly Cody's body had been recovered, investigators resumed interviews with his friends and his family.
Now they need to find out what happened. Why was a body down there?
Yeah, exactly.
And my deal is,
why would he be up on a dangerous trail?
And not only that, but why would Jordan know exactly where to look?
They learned that Cody was afraid of heights.
Okay, so then what the fuck was he doing?
So much so that he was afraid to get on a ladder to put on lights for his mom at her house.
Okay, so then if Jordan was saying that they were chilling there on the fucking cliff, like, I don't know, that just doesn't
she just said we were in the area.
Yeah,
she didn't say we were on the cliff.
See, pero, like, once again, we've done this for a long time. And so it just sounds like it's not right that she knew exactly where to go and where
to look.
I see a body.
Yes.
Girl, it took three people, for somebody to lean the fuck over with the damn rope for them to say that there was a body, but
For
you
sure.
saw one.
Yes.
She saw something.
She saw something. Now, things were made a little bit more clear when a woman named Kimberly Martinez walked into the KPD and stated that she had something to tell investigators.
She had something to take off her chest.
Yes.
Okay.
So she presented herself as Jordan's friend, and she was either her maid or matron of honor at her wedding with Cody.
So besties.
Yeah. And they had met through church, according to Kimberly. After Jordan and Cody's wedding, Jordan let her know that she wasn't sure if she had made the right choice.
A la madre.
On June 30th, the day after the wedding,
holy shit.
in a text to Kimberly, she wrote, quote, "Totally just had a meltdown. I'm completely second guessing everything right now. I don't know if all this was the right thing to do. So much happened last night, ... I don't know. I just don't know," end quote.
What?
So that was the 30th. The following day, on July 1st, Jordan sent another text to Kimberly saying, quote, "I cannot freaking pull myself together. I haven't stopped crying since I was there. I wish somebody would just straight up ask me if this is what I wanted. I can't go back and change anything. I should be happy and I'm just not. I don't feel like myself. All I want is to be me again, to be happy and not feel like a bad person, because all the time all I feel like doing is crying and I hate it, but I just can't keep it in. I'll see how tonight goes. I actually decided to come to the softball game. I'm still not sure about going home after. I just know he's going to want to do stuff and I'm really not wanting to. Guess I'll see later how the rest of the evening goes."
Okay, but you can tell.
So I'm sure from what you gathered there, it appeared that Jordan's unhappiness stemmed from having to have sex with her husband.
Okay.
Which would be, I guess, the next logical step after getting married. Not that she had to, right? Because if you don't want to, it doesn't matter if you're married. Like, just
that's your body. You need to open your mouth.
Yeah,
and if you're
no.
like, hey, you know what? I didn't enjoy that, or I didn't like the way it made me feel.
No, or just be like, hey, I don't want to. I'm not ready for that. I know we're married.
But she had that option, because I'm pretty sure, unless she, I mean, I don't know Cody personally, but I'm pretty sure that with all the love that they had and all of these things that you were mentioning earlier, like, I'm imagining that he could have been a little bit more understanding if she would just said something. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, based on what she was telling Kimberly, it's from, it seemed that Cody was pushing for intimacy, and maybe she just wasn't comfortable or wasn't ready for that. But like you said,
bro, open your mouth or say something, or hey, you know what? Let's go talk to a doctor, or let's go talk to someone. So
Kim stated that she told Jordan to have that conversation with Cody, her husband.
Yeah.
And it appears that was Jordan's plan, because on July 5th, she texted Kimberly, quote, "I think I'm going to talk to him on Sunday night. If this weekend doesn't go well, he gets a temper fast, so I'll be freaking out. Well, if you don't hear from me after Sunday night, be worried."
What?
And again, on July 7th, which was that Sunday, Jordan texted Kimberly again after church. He's in a bad mood. I'm afraid he'll do something, then take off. I'll be calling you. But dead serious. If you don't hear from me at all again tonight, something happened. Now, if Cody did have a temper, so much so that maybe Jordan felt some sort of way or uncomfortable, I wasn't able to find anything that mentioned it, but maybe it was something that was kept between them, you know?
Yeah, or maybe...
And he's not here, so we don't know, you know?
And not only that, but I think that it has a lot to do también with... this was intimacy, something that men... there's some men that are very sensitive to
about
that, you know, or maybe he really was like, hey,
or maybe he wasn't understanding why she did it, porque no le decía, you know. We're not trying to make excuses here. We don't know what really, you know. So later that night, Jordan, the 7th, remember? So later that night or early July 8th, Jordan showed up at Kim's house around 1 a.m.
Oh, shit.
And told her that the conversation with Cody hadn't gone well. And she told Kim that they had argued, and then she followed him and them to a reservoir where she lost them.
Ooh.
After speaking with Kimberly, I don't know if she meant Cody and friends.
Maybe he did leave, like he needed to go get away for a little bit.
And, maybe they had argued, right? So after speaking with Kimberly, she went back home where her younger brother was, who was spending the night. So remember, there are different agencies that, you know, formed a task force, right?
Yeah, you said the FBI, the
Park Service, the Kalispell Police Department, and the Sheriff's Office.
Everybody in their mouth.
Yeah. After learning from Kimberly everything that, you know, Jordan mentioned to her, they began to compare their notes about Jordan, right?
Okay.
And they learned that while talking to a ranger that day that they found the body, she showed no emotion. As others were crying and in disbelief, she displayed none of that. And again, we don't know how people
react. Maybe she was in shock.
Yeah, right,
I don't know.
But not only that, it was also odd, like you were saying a little bit earlier, that Jordan knew exactly where to look.
Yeah.
And one of the rangers recalled Jordan saying that that area was, quote, it was a place he wanted to see before he died.
What? That's crazy.
Now, investigators heard back from Google, because remember, they were waiting on that.
Oh, they were waiting on Google. Yeah.
And they were able to trace the email from Carmen Tony 607. I'm sorry, I don't know why that cracks me up. Carmen Tony 607.
607.
Yeah. To an AP address in Flathead Valley belonging to Stephen Rutledge, who was Jordan's stepdad. Another reason to suspect Jordan, right?
Yeah.
But she didn't live at that house. So did any of her family members send that email, right? Living at the house was her stepdad, her mom, and her 16-year-old little brother. They were all interviewed, and investigators were able to rule them out as one of them writing the email. The only person left that could have done it was Jordan.
So she wrote herself the email on her Twitter.
No, somebody emailed her. Yeah. Somebody saw her message from Twitter, and then she received an email. So,
pero what you're saying right now is that no one else fit the description of the person who could have written
the IP address.
The IP address, right? Her,
right?
Okay,
because they her other family members were ruled out.
Okay, got it.
Now, phone records for her phone and Cody's phone also came in, and it was like all the pieces were like falling into place at the same time. Now, remember that Jordan stated that after making it home from Dairy Queen, Cody left with friends, but that's not what the phone records showed.
Oh.
They revealed that both Jordan and Cody were in Glacier National Park that night.
They were together?
Yes.
Okay.
Their cell phones pinged them leaving Kalispell and entering the park at 9:17 p.m.
Damn, that's late, dude.
Not only that, but as you drive into the park, there's a camera that captures cars going in.
Yeah.
And it captured Corey's car, which was a blue Audi. And there's also a picture, and it's grainy, but you could see him driving, and you can see her in the passenger seat.
There was no people that she was saying he was with friends and all this other shit. Okay.
Yeah. Now, on July 16th, Jordan was summoned to the police station, and she was interviewed again. And, you know, began to relay the same story that she did at the very beginning. Investigators stopped her immediately and they just slid a picture of their surveillance
Like,
from that
girl?
night of her and Cody going into the park.
This doesn't look like what you were saying.
And as soon as she saw the photo, what did they all do? She broke down and started crying.
Yeah.
She then proceeded to change her story. She now said that after leaving Dairy Queen, she and Cody went home and she started to tell Corey about how she felt as far as, intimacy in their marriage. And they began to argue.
Okay.
According to Jordan, somehow, bitch, I don't know how, they ended up at Glacier National Park.
Oh, they just ended up there.
I don't know how.
No,
I can't
es que
tell you.
no.
If she said how or why, I don't know. I'm assuming it was her idea.
Nada más llegaron ahí.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, ¿sabes qué? Let's go take a walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go walk it off at the cliff. No, I don't know.
I don't know.
So they drove up to Loop Road, parked the car, and Cody went to use the restroom. He came back and they were back to arguing, and they were
Out of anywhere you could argue, you're going to go to the Glacier National Park.
at that trail.
At that trail.
Yes. And they were walking the trail and they were arguing. They both went over to the retaining wall and went over to the spot, I'm assuming close to the edge, where she and Cody argued some more.
I don't know about this.
She said, quote, and I was kind of feeling some built up anger, not very happy he was talking to me like I was a child when I was trying to tell him how I was truly feeling. I didn't want to do that trail because I was afraid. I mean, there's a cliff right there and he could have fallen. He said, quote, he said, I could do this with a blindfold on. I could just put it on, take a step, but I wouldn't even fall. And then we were arguing some more. And he went to grab my arm or my jacket, and I said no. And I'm not going to something inaudible that it's redacted here. I'm going to defend myself. So I kind of just let go and I pushed and he went over.
Okay.
So according to her, it all happened in the heat of the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she pushed her husband of 9 days
Wow.
off a cliff in the heat of a moment.
But my deal is, and maybe you're gonna tell me in a minute, or maybe you don't even know. Pero what is the rationale of why they ended up going there? She just said that they were just going.
At some point, they just ended up there. I couldn't find where she said. Yeah,
Okay. Because I'm like, my deal is like, if we're gonna argue,
I'm going to argue at the house.
like,
Or-
why am I gonna go argue at 9 p.m. and it's dark there? No, me imagino.
Yes.
Like, no hay luces.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Pero bueno, you see the camera where they drive in, right? Pero yo me imagino que no
Well,
hay.
it's a fucking over 1 million acres.
Yeah,
Like,
so I'm sure that they can't have over 1 million acres lit up. I'm just saying. So then you're just gonna go.
she went to an area, obviously, that she knew.
She knew, yeah.
The area that they both knew, I'm assuming. But
He was scared of heights, so
you don't just go over the wall, the retaining wall, for no fucking reason.
Yeah, and then he was scared. So
He was saying that he could do it with the blindfold on.
no, and he was scared. He
was
couldn't even
scared.
put lights up.
Get
and
on a ladder at his mom's house.
girl.
Yeah.
No,
So
she continued to lie.
Yeah,
Obviously,
if it was in the heat of the moment and didn't mean to do it, why didn't she go get help after it happened?
yeah,
right?
Like,
Instead, she lied to cover it up.
and then emailed herself.
Yeah. After that happened, she then left Glacier National Park in Cody's car and also his cell phone. She took it with her.
No, y lo dejó allí tirado, güey.
Yes.
O sea, no,
No, Barbie, he fell like 200 feet to
Yes.
his death.
Bitch, y lo dejó allí tirado.
Yeah.
You just married this
Man,
Like, what is...
that you dated for like a good year.
Dude,
Or
what the fuck? That's crazy to me.
So as she was driving, she texted Kimberly.
Oh, okay.
And so this is before she went to Kimberly's house a la una de la mañana, remember?
Uh-huh.
So she texted Kimberly, now I'm freaking out. I do not even know what to do right now. Dude, I'm freaking out. I'm about to go for a walk or something. Jump a freaking bridge. I've lost it. I was talking to him, and all I did to get him scratched up and him to leave. There's no way I'm going to be able to fall asleep. If I do, I am waking up.
What is she fucking talking about?
Or I don't know. She was texting and driving. She probably didn't know what she was doing. Yeah.
Probably was.
No, yeah. So once she made it back to Kalispell, she called her little brother, and I'm assuming the 16-year-old from earlier, at around 11:15 p.m. and told him that she and Cody had argued, and he left to go out with some friends on a ride. Then the friends were from Washington. She picked him up and took him back to her house so he could spend the night.
In the car of her husband?
Yes. So then su hermanito se quedó dormido on the couch, and then she left to go to Kimberly's house.
What the hell is she doing, bitch?
Now, the authorities had her confession, right? So she confessed.
Yeah.
But she was released because they needed to build a case.
What?
They needed to build a case against her that she wasn't going to be able to just
get away with it.
Right.
Okay.
So on October 3rd, 2013, Jordan was indicted for first and second degree murder, as well as making false statements to police. And she was arrested.
Oh, shit.
And she pleaded not guilty. So her trial began on December 9th, 2013 in Missoula, Montana. I was going to say Minnesota. So she confessed to pushing Cody over the cliff, but was it premeditated? That was what they were trying to...
Dude, I'm not...
The prosecution believed that Jordan pushed Cody to his death because she didn't want to be married to him and she couldn't see any other way out of it. So she planned to kill him and cover it up.
Girl, you've been married to this man 9 days.
To show premeditation, prosecutors used the testimony of other friends, and specifically one of Eddie. He was Cody's friend.
The one that went into the crawl spaces?
No. That was Cameron.
Somebody else.
That was Cameron. This is Eddie.
Oh, okay. My bad.
So Eddie testified that he had asked Cody to go golfing that day, and that Cody le dijo que no podía because Jordan had a surprise for him.
Oh.
So what was the surprise?
Yeah.
Y'all were just going to go to church and then go to Dairy Queen after?
That's a surprise. I like Dairy Queen.
I do too.
I like their ice cream.
The defense argued that Jordan's actions were a result of fear for her life during an argument.
What?
Because remember, she, the day before Cody's death, Jordan had been texting Kimberly that Cody had a temper, and if something happened to her, she implied it was him that did it.
But at the same time, I mean, as the defendant, what I would say would be like, okay, yeah, but if she was able to email herself and get everything prepared,
it up, right.
She could have also thought of a way earlier to be able to start covering things up. Even like you said, there's nothing that says that he had a temper or that you never know. Like you said, it could have been under closed doors, but nobody ever said or complained about that.
So the trial didn't last very long. And on December 12th, the day when closing arguments were scheduled, the defense realized that they were going to lose this case. So they made a last minute plea deal. Jordan pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced in March of 2014 to a 30-year sentence in federal prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. Her scheduled release date is November 10th, 2039.
Damn.
And that's the case of Cody Johnson and Jordan Graham.
That's so crazy, dude. That is, I know I get it. I know we always say this.
But I mean, usually a spouse will kill another spouse.
For money.
For cheating.
That kind of shit.
Yeah.
Pero because you didn't want to have a relationship
or didn't want to be married
or didn't want to be married anymore, open your mouth. Di algo.
Yeah, like what I wonder. I don't know.
Everybody, like I always say, everybody thinks differently, and maybe I
mean, religion played a big part.
Yeah, maybe.
Pero you're not supposed to kill either, and you killed your husband.
Yeah, I mean, you could have opened your mouth and just been like, "Hey, you know what? We need help. Let me get counseling.
Maybe can we annul this?
Yes, or you know what? Or just be honest with him, and you don't even have to talk by yourself.
Maybe she just liked him as a friend and not a partner,
which is. I think it's fine, but open your mouth. Like, dude, let's go get some counseling. Like you said, she was at church. Hey, let's talk to the counselor or the pastor, somebody to come and mediate between you and I. A ver qué pedo aquí. Pero killing somebody, and especially like that? And the last thing that he saw was that his wife pushed him?
Yes.
Bitch. That's some shit right there. And then dying, being so afraid of heights?
Yeah.
That's in the words of...
And then so mom lost her only son.
That's crazy, dude. That's so fucked up.
Like, do you just move out of Montana and be like, I can never look at this place ever again the same?
Like,
I could never go into this park.
For sure.
It's ruined for me forever.
Yeah.
And she ruined it. And she's like in a federal prison in Alabama or some shit.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm glad that she's there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There was no...
She did it. Whether she planned it or not, she did it. And... I don't know, like you were saying earlier, why were you there in the first place?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense. Like I get, like we were just saying. Like I get it.
You argue at home.
You argue at home.
were arguing.
You were arguing. You know, whatever. And hey, you know what? And Kimberly is her name.
The friend. Yeah.
Good for her. Good for
Yeah.
her to go in and saying, hey, something's not right.
Yeah. She told me this stuff.
She told me this stuff, and y'all need to look into her because something's not okay. And okay.
And then she like emailed herself.
Yeah, emailed
made
herself.
up the lie about he went on a joyride from friends from Washington.
Like why?
And then went around town asking también, texting his mom if she had,
My deal
heard
is,
from him.
as soon as you said she looked over and he was there, I was like, oh, bitch, no.
She done did it.
And because of the fact that, like I said before, todos sabían que estaba bien dangerous allí. So for her to just go over there and just be like, oh, there's something in there.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. Like, there's no way. Like, you did it. But además de eso, I just hope that Cody's parents get peace, or his mom. Like, imagine, like,
and his family
gets
friends.
peace, and that she pays for what she did, because she really did not have to push that poor guy. I just looked him up and he looked like he was so sweet. So this is our case. Let us know this is Estela's case. So let us know what you think. If you'd like to follow us on Instagram, you can at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. And if you would like to download our episodes, leave us a review and or rate us. We would really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
Bye.